You're welcome back to the Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Now, in times like this when security is a priority, there's something that's coming up today that we need to draw your attention to. A lot of these criminals are finding very innovative ways of either stopping you in your vehicle or meeting you in some parts of town just to rob you. Well, we have some details for you from the director of the Cybercrime Unit of the Ghana Police Service, Chief Superintendent Dr. Herbert Gustav Jackson, telling us details of what we should be looking out for these days to ensure that we don't fall in the hands of criminals.
Somewhere, I think about 3 days ago, we received some complaints from the citizenry of this country that they have received emails which is supposed to have come from us, inviting them to this unit for investigations. And we want to inform the general public that that email is not coming from us.
Exactly. How would I know that it's not coming from the police?
We don't invite people via emails. We either send you a letter or we call you via phone. So we are urging all the general public to treat that particular email with the content that it deserves.
What is the content of this email?
It basically says that we are investigating a case, and we realized that some proceeds of a particular criminal act and parts of it have been transferred into your account. So there is the need for you to come to the CID headquarters for investigations, and then they mention the unit. So a lot of people come here that they've been invited. Apparently nobody has invited. So we are trying to let the general public know that it's more of a scam and they should ignore it. It's not coming from the police service.
Have you investigated to find out where these emails are coming from and the purpose for which it will be sent, the emails will be sent to these people, these personalities in the...
Yeah, we have investigated those emails. Currently, what we have is that it's not coming from the country, and so we are liaising with our Interpol partners to help us get to the perpetrators. Obviously, it's a scam. It's been indicated in the email that there is an attachment, and if you want more on investigations, you can read it. And if, as you try to open the email, it will ask you to confirm that this is your email, confirm your email and then your password. So obviously the idea is to get access to your email, and then you can perpetrate there are different forms of fraud that are being perpetrated by using emails today. So any of them could be used against you. That is why we are trying to bring this to the notice of the general public that it's not from the police, and try not to open, I stress on that, they should not open the attachment.
But how far with your investigations to find these perpetrators with your international partners?
Usually we trace to the source of the email. We have identified the IP associated with the emails. We have identified the country where it came from.
Which country, if you want to mention?
I wouldn't want to mention it for now. So we have sent a message to our partners to investigate where that IP is coming from, to know who sent that particular email.
So the caution word here is beware of such emails supposedly coming from the Ghana Police Service, and if you have such emails, don't even open them. Should you open, don't even open the attachments. That's a word of caution coming from the Ghana Police Service, where I'm reporting from Hannah Odami for Joy News.
Right, so that's some tips for you for cybercrime. Be on the lookout, especially for the attachments you get in your mails. If you're not sure where it's coming from, don't open it. If you do, you'll find yourself in a lot of trouble at the hands of criminals. But from crime, we can now talk about something that I'm really passionate about, especially when it has to do with women and their health, and it's about breast cancer. The month of October every year has been dedicated to raise awareness about breast cancer. But this year, it's beginning to look like it's not only the global campaign that's taking center stage. Here in Ghana and in Africa, there is a gradual push to have the awareness, not only in terms of helping to check, but many keeping their eyes and ears and more informed about the symptoms and what to do when you find yourself in that predicament. And who else to help us understand a bit more of this than Juliet Mills-Rutrot? She is a breast cancer awareness campaigner, but she's also a survivor of breast cancer. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And truth is, oftentimes when we talk about breast cancer, it sounds a little bit remote. You say, okay, it's for the women.
Right.
But how bad is it?
It's bad because it's a silent killer. And across Africa, there is no symptoms in early stages of breast cancer. So women ignore it. And women think they're okay until there is actually the symptoms show up. By then, it's too late because it's a very expensive disease to cure. And when you look at the masses of the people, we cannot afford a $5,000 chemo treatment that's going to get through. We need 6, 7, 8 treatments. The average African woman or family cannot afford that.
Wow. But the big thing people keep asking is, what's the cause of breast cancer?
We don't know. They don't know. Some of it, you know, there is studies done where to a certain extent, there is genetic based, to a certain extent, health and diet, to a certain extent. You cannot really tell. They don't know exactly where cancer in general
comes from.
You know, our lifestyle change in the last 30, 40 years have created a lot of issues in health in general, and cancer has been one of the ones that have shown its ugly head across Africa.
Now, in fact, as I mentioned, every time this awareness thing comes around, it's given a certain superficial touch. But you are a survivor.
Yes.
When did you realize this? What's been your own experience with it?
Well, for me, I turned 40 and I went for a routine. I live in the United States. So it's mandatory for you when you turn 40 to go through your regular checkup and then do a mammogram. So I did the mammogram. I was very busy. I was in the height of my career. I'm a mother of 3. So between juggling family life, my businesses, all the things that I do, I really didn't have time to be chasing after some mammogram. So I played it off, and eventually my doctor reached out and said, listen, chick, you have to go in and do this. So I went in. They called me back several times for different tests. And it came up that I had cancer. This was 8 years ago. So I've been in remission for 8 years. I went through chemo. I went through the whole 9 yards of going through, getting my body ready. And somebody asked me while I was going through chemo, if I didn't live in the United States, will I be alive today? And I couldn't answer that. And it was a truthful, sincere question that I couldn't answer because I didn't know. And that prompted me to start to look at, okay, if I lived in Ghana, what is one of the things I would love to know? First and foremost is self-examination. That in itself can save your life. I have met so many women who have gotten a mastectomy done at a very early stage when their cancer was caught early, and they're 80 years old and they're 90 years old in Ghana.
And they're fine.
And they're fine because it was caught early and the entire tissue.
Let's go briefly on what the experience is if you have it. What happens to you? What's the experience? I just want to understand it.
You know, it's interesting because, like I told you, the early stages of it, there's no signs. So here you are being diagnosed of a disease that there's no symptoms. Your husband has to deal with the fact that you are okay. And now you have to go through chemo that makes you look sicker than you ever was.
So what? It's pain in your breast? What is it?
There's no pain. It's a lump in your breast. There's no pain.
Moving in there.
There's just a little lump that you feel in your breast. I did not feel my lump. The mammogram did not pick it up. The ultrasound did not pick it up. The MRI picked it up. So my cancer was caught very, very early at a very, very small stage. But the type of cancer was aggressive. That's why I opted to remove my entire breast.
So you removed it?
Yes.
Okay, so for those who may not check and it grows bigger, it's aggressive as you call it, the type could be, what's the worst that could happen?
It would spread into their lungs and in months they would die.
Ooh.
It's as simple as that. I lost my mom 2 years ago.
To cancer?
Yes, to breast cancer. She found her lump a little too late.
Okay, so you've come up with a campaign, Pink for Africa, Rock Your Pink for Africa.
I have an NGO called Pink for Africa. And what we do is, in the month of October, I come to Ghana, I give up my family, my life, my whatever, I come home, and we educate. My target is from age 12 because the stigmas are horrible. So we want to change the mindset of the young girls going forward to be able to learn proper self-examination. Your 4 fingers is how you do it. You lay back with your arm behind you. 1 week after your period, you take your 4 fingers and you go in a circular mode and you go around the breast, you push into the breast cage. Men, 10% of men do get breast cancer. So men are not totally free of breast cancer.
Okay.
Yes. So it is important that as you have an intimate moment with your wife, allow her to have an intimate moment with you as well. So that you cross-check.
Yeah.
You may never know.
Okay.
But it is important to go around, you squeeze the nipple to make sure there's no fluid coming out of it. And if you do find a lump, remember, it doesn't mean you have breast cancer. It means you need to go to the doctor and let the doctor do the proper test.
It could be just about anything.
It could be just a lump.
Okay. Julia, thank you for coming today.
Thank
I'm sure
you
that for
so
many
much for having me.
who may have watched today, they will be inspired and also educated to check. It's okay for you to check. You know early, you deal with it so you don't get any problems. Don't wait till it gets bad before you say we told you and you did not check. Thank you so much for coming. So the awareness is on. I'm sure it will be on till the end of the month. Go check. Help also for the checking, and I'm sure that we can all help in dealing with breast cancer in Ghana and across the world.